day of September 2022. Please rise if you're able and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's remain standing and join together for a brief moment of silence. First, as we always do, keeping the men and women of our armed services in our thoughts and prayers. Also, we pause tonight to remember Benny Gobrowski of Bridgehampton in Juno Beach, Florida, died on September 17th at 87 years old, husband of former Southampton Town Councilwoman Nancy Gobrowski, who held her elected office from 2004 to 2021. Gobrowski's parents came from Poland and bought the farm on Mitchell Lane in Bridgehampton in 1928. When his father died in 1955, Gobrowski took over the farm at age 20 and grew potatoes for over 40 years. He also operated a farm stand in the 1970s, his specialties being Benny's Best potatoes, sweet corn, tomatoes, cucumbers, and string beans. Benny was hardworking, dependable, and strong, persevering through good potato years and bad, as determined by the weather and the market. He is survived by his wife, Nancy, with whom he was married for 54 years, daughters Diane, Jennifer, and Carol, and their husbands, and 5 grandchildren. So we'll keep Benny Gobrowski in our thoughts and send our prayers to the family, and again, our military servicemen and women. Thank you. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. I can find the agenda. Okay. Supervisor Schneiderman.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara. Present. Councilman Martell.
Present.
Councilman Bouvier.
Yeah, here.
Councilman Skiba.
Present.
All right, thank you. So everybody is here. Let me make a motion to approve the minutes of our regular town board meeting of September 13th, 2022.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Madam Clerk, would you read the communications?
The following communications have been received in my office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the New York State Department of Public Service, town fire districts, their budget hearing notices for 2023, and district budget filings. Emails, letters, petition, and land use applications have been received regarding the following. Proposed park at 178 Old Country Road, Riverhead, Remsenburg, Spionk. Emails and letters, Planning Board matter of Lewis Road, PRD, East Quogue. Proposed PSEG, LIPA underground cable through the Long Pond Greenbelt. And Conservation Board application for 1319 North Sea Road, Southampton. The following bid and request for proposals were opened on September 14th, 2022, Cold Patch Pavement Repair Materials and CPF Farming at Sayre Field, 93 Butter Lane, Bridgehampton. On September 21st, Old Farm Road, road and drainage improvements. The following reports were filed. The Town Assessor 2022-2023 CPF eligible parcel list and the Town Comptroller August 2022 monthly financial reports. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Okay, there's a number of resolutions I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda. Those 2 on the walk-on packet list, some of you have expressed some concerns over, so why don't we do, let me skip 7 and 10. Let's make one motion to walk the others on. So number 1 is 41178, terminates a confidential secretary in the tax receiver's office. 41179 appoints Robin Oliver to confidential secretary in tax receiver's office. 41321 authorizes supervisor to renew contract with Civic Plus for upgrades and redesign of town's website. 41341, resolution setting public hearing to consider amending 312 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, adding a new Article 25 entitled Temporary Restrictions for Trial Programs, and new section 312-111 entitled October 22 Blinking Light Program. 41343, which is sponsored by Councilman Bouvier and Tommy John Scavone. Notice of public hearing for the proposed recipients of the 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program. 41348 authorizes payment from restricted account for purchases of supplies related to 20 Shinnecock Road, Hampton Bays. We'll skip 7 for now. Number 8 is 41359, attendance of NYJOSROA Basic School Resource Officers Course. 41361, authorizes supervisor to sign contract with MAD 82 Services, Inc. to replace defective CATS cable on Police Department Headquarters Tower. I'll skip number 10 for now. Going to 11, which is 41364, is warrant number 18. 41368 authorizes acquisition of 1140 Flanders Road, Flanders, and amends the CPF management and stewardship plan to include that property. We have a hearing on that today, and then there's actually 2 pieces. So 41369 is the other property at 1040 Flanders Road. 41371 award and authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Aventura Construction Corporation, Old Farm Road reconstruction. And lastly, 41375, which is Councilman Bouvier's resolution to wait.
I'm going to add Councilman Martell as co-sponsor.
Okay. And we'll add Councilman Martell as co-sponsor, waiving the showmobile fee for Live Your COR Foundation.
Core,
Core.
for Corey Hubbard.
Live Your Core Foundation fundraiser? Is it missing the E, or is it supposed to be COR?
No, that's,
Okay. All right, so let me make a motion to walk those 13 resolutions on. The second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
aye.
Aye, okay, those will be added. So let's take a quick look at the other 2 that were being requested to add. Number 7, I believe it's just deeming the EIS, the draft EIS, suitable for public review.
Okay.
It's not deeming it complete. It's just the application itself can be now routed. But if you want to wait on that, we can wait on that.
I'd like to table that, Supervisor.
Well, you don't have to table it if we don't put it on, so.
Oh, don't put, I mean, yeah. not
Okay,
to
you'd
put it
like
on,
to, you'd like to
sorry.
hold off on that one?
Yep.
Okay, and then I'd like to, there's a historical concepts, the planning department would like to bring them in on the Hampton Bays revitalization efforts. I just would like to sort of begin some of the listening sessions and get a sense whether the community wants to be revitalized. I just thought it might be a little bit early to bring in historical concepts, so I thought we didn't need to rush it. Maybe we could have a conversation with the planning department.
That'd be fine.
Okay, so we'll leave those 2 off then. Okay, all right, that then brings us to public hearings. If you wish to speak at a public hearing, please fill out a card. I do have 1 card filled out. We also are conducting a hybrid meeting, so people watching from their homes or offices can also weigh in. All right, Madam Clerk, would you read the first public hearing notice?
I'd love to.
First 2 actually would be, because they're kind of combined, so if you,
Well, they're both the same address.
the big difference, if you recall, is that we
Historical.
amended public hearing number 2 to include the historical preservation.
All right.
Would you mind if we
Preservation
did
of
them,
historic structures.
would you mind if we did them separately, since we can make separate decisions, whether we're gonna buy each of them, or, we don't have to buy them both together?
No, it's the
They're
same
both the
property.
same property.
Same property.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is not the
We're-
2 pieces?
No,
This
no,
is
no,
just
that's
the
11.
one?
The
We
one,
closed the
one.
7Cs we closed last.
Okay,
last
because
meeting.
that also had the same address,
Yeah.
1040.
No,
No,
it's
no,
close.
1140.
One's 1040, one's 1140.
Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, so let's,
This is only
So
just
can you
to
explain-
hear
the first one is the one that does not have the,
right, that's the one we heard last
Okay,
time.
so
And then we just.
so why don't we open that one and close it?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the hearing on the second one, that includes that language. All right, Madam Clerk, would you read the first public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 1, to consider the acquisition of land at 1040 Flanders Road, Flanders, and amend the CPF project plan and the management and stewardship plan to include property.
Okay, and again, Jim, this is the one we heard last time.
That's correct.
It did not include the possibility of historic preservation. So, is there anyone from the public who wishes to be heard on this one? We are, okay. This is to acquire it not as a historic property.
This, of the 7 Zs?
No, this is the
No,
other
no.
one, Kevin. This is the, this is
Methodist.
the one here. Meredith Point,
Okay.
the one,
Did I understand correctly? Was the 7 Zs hearing, was that closed?
that was closed.
That was
last
closed.
time.
Okay. I wanted to speak to that.
Well, you can
Do a
speak to that in
public-
public portion, because we haven't voted on it yet. So just hang in there. All right, so, is anyone else from the public? All right, Charles, anyone online? All right, I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Second?
Second by Councilman Scavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, sorry for the confusion. So, Madam Clerk, would you read the second public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 2, to consider the acquisition of land at 1040 Flanders Road, Flanders, and amend the CPF project plan and the management and stewardship plan to include property.
All right, thank you. And Julie Green, our town historian, will present.
Need these, don't need them. Good evening,
Just
Supervisor.
move the mic a
John
little
Ward.
closer to your mouth, if you would.
Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yep.
Okay. So good evening. I just wanted to give a brief history of 1040 Flanders Road in Flanders, New York. This, everybody knows this, it's called Methodist Point. So it's, originally the name was thought to be connected to the Griffin family, who were the second owners of the parcel. But it actually dates back much earlier to 1800, about 1800, when it was owned by Captain Charles Smith and his family. They were from Machias, Maine. He was a coastal trader, so he traded in cordwood and other entities, products from the area to and from New York City, up into Maine, all over the Northeast. And he bought the property, and they called it Methodist Point because he and his wife, Dorcas Foss Smith, were instrumental in the early establishment of the Methodist Society on the eastern end of Long Island, specifically in the formation of the Methodist Church in Sag Harbor in 1810. Before there were Methodist churches, they were circuit riders that went from town to town preaching, and before there were churches, they used people's homes. So the home, the 18th century home that was built on this property first was one of those meeting houses for the early Methodists in the western part of the town. In 1858, after the death of Dorcas Smith, the family sold the 25-acre parcel to John L. Griffin for $675. In 1884, John's son Samuel S. Griffin inherited the property, and he established one of the first duck farms in Flanders. Taking advantage of the influx of summer visitors, Samuel Griffin built the large farmhouse in 1890, and that's the big White House that's right there. It's still standing, in pretty good, decent shape. The duck farm passed down to his son-in-law, Thomas Irving Havens, and was operated as Griffin and Havens Duck Farm. That was about until 1966 when Havens passed away. There was a decline in the duck industry, and then duck farming ceased on the point. His wife died in 1975, and the property, after nearly 120 years in the Griffin family, passed on to another buyer. The property is listed in the 2014 AKRF report of contributing historic resources in Flanders. In addition to the iconic 1890 farmhouse, which you can see from the road, there is an circa 1800 barn, which are both visible from the road, and there are several other outbuildings that survive in various conditions on the property. The purchase of this 4.5 acre parcel, combined with an earlier CPF parcel that's just to the northwest, here in green, that's already owned by the town. It would basically put the property back together again. It's back to its 25-acre parcel.
Now, this resolution is for open space and historic preservation.
Wetlands and historic preservation.
So are you suggesting that most of these buildings remain or just a few of them?
Just a few of them.
Can you point
So,
out again which ones you'd be looking to?
Yeah, so we were on site, we looked through we got a tour of the main house. This is the most prominent structure and the most well-known to the community. It's historic from about 1890 construction, and it has just about all of its remnants of its older construction, and the house warrants restoration. Property has a dock which can entice certain stewards to the property. And the main barn, this structure appears to be much older than the other structures and could be from the early 1800s. This, much of the barn is in restorable conditions. It's a pretty spectacular old barn. What's interesting about the 1890 house is is the foundation of the house is all old ballast probably from Connecticut. So what we feel is that the 1890 house is built on the foundation of the original early 18th century house, early 19th century house, excuse me, which is pretty interesting that they kept the footprint and the foundation of the original house. There are many other structures on the property that are in such a state of hodgepodge that they probably wouldn't warrant restoration work done to them. There is a third structure. It's the Windmill Barn. As you can see I don't know if you all have your postcard on the front, you can see the windmill in the back of the house.
Yeah.
So when this was it was a wind-based water pump, just kind of like the Dick's Mill. But what they've done on this property is they've built a small barn or moved a small barn over the well. They removed the fan structure and they installed what looks like an old farmall, a tractor engine, and they turned it into, instead of wind-powered, it's powered by this old engine. So it's pretty spectacular little piece of history right there.
Can you just point those out on the map so we know?
Sure. So this is the main 1890s house. This is this small little structure here, that's the little windmill barn, and this is the main barn.
So those three you'd be looking to save?
Yes.
And how would they be used? As a museum or?
No, I think these would be a perfect thing for any sort of steward. It's got a dock. It's right on the water, so it could be something that would be for some sort of environmental conservation. I could toss out some names, but I don't know if we're at that point yet. But
is it suitable for aquaculture?
yes,
Possibly.
possibly, yeah.
The water quality is not on the list, but
Not on that side.
But it still could be an adaptive reuse of the building, I suppose.
That's a good idea. I'd like to look into that, if
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, Cornell Cooperative comes to mind. This would be something. The house is quite large. It's 3 stories, so it could house quite an operation.
I counted 8, excuse me, Super. I counted 8 structures on that, so you're saying that
Right,
we
so-
really would want to save 3 and some cleanup?
Not
Yeah.
totally my expertise on
Right.
restoration, but this, that's actually an RV that's been removed from the site.
Okay.
It's not historic.
And there's about 12 cats, and they will be gone too. This structure here, this kind of,
Julie,
Julie, you need to,
grab that
that will be
microphone.
removed. Sorry, this structure here will be removed, and this structure in the back here, that was thought to be the original 1800s, turn of the 19th century house. However, we weren't able to find anything that warrants that. I think it was an old barn that has been completely, there's no historical integrity left of that building.
Conceivably, we could connect this barn with the Big Duck through our
Yeah,
property that we own.
All of the properties,
of
so,
historic trailer.
so these 2 properties, in a perfect world, so 7Z's is perfect platform for viewing, and then somehow connect to the other 2 properties would be
Okay.
excellent.
I'm just, it's the difficult part with the historic preservation is, CPF can be used to fix things up, but not to maintain or operate. And those costs often are very hard. we find partners, historical societies, and
Yeah, I
they
think,
hold their bake sales and struggle to, try to keep the lights on.
right.
and-
I used to be in that world, so I know exactly what you're talking about,
It's
but,
very difficult, and I have
It is.
had conversations with Assemblyman Thiel about allowing some of the CPF stewardship money to go toward partnering with those types of societies to help operate CPF buildings. It would help a lot. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm hopeful that will happen.
right.
If it doesn't, it's just very expensive to maintain these things, and we don't have a source of funding to do it.
Right.
Property taxes, and,
Right.
And stewardships.
yeah,
It's very hard to find a steward.
yeah. It's
I
very
mean, there are a
limited.
million for-profit that would love these spaces, but as a not-for-profit, it's very difficult.
If uses were allowed, like a bed and breakfast type of use, that could probably self-sustain it, but
Right, it's not,
I don't
yeah,
think-
currently, it's not in,
it's not
not,
allowable.
yeah.
So.
But some real established
This is an environmentally
not-for-profit
sensitive piece. So originally, we looked at it just for.
is a wetlands, right?
Yeah, just as open space, a passive little park there that people could go to and maybe sit at a picnic table and enjoy the view. Then it came up that some of the buildings might be important.
Yes.
So we decided to hold the second hearing that allowed both of those uses within the acquisition purpose.
Right, I think, just from a point of view, I've lived in Flanders for 10 years, that it's an iconic point, iconic buildings. Right now, it sadly has some red stripes on it. But it's something, I mean, we're doing quite a bit in Flanders right now with some of the other CPF purchases, and I think if this was put back to, restored back to its original, it would be fantastic for the people of Flanders as well as everybody
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about our ability to restore it. I'm worried about our ability
to find a steward.
going forward.
Yeah,
Well, we,
I just don't want to saddle future generations with the costs. If, hopefully, we'll get some changes to the CPF program that will allow some money to go toward it. But I'm
Right.
sorry, Councilman.
No, because you brought up the idea of agriculture, but it's also, having worked in Flanders for a long time, I understand the importance of this building, particularly the community, as you pointed out, Julie.
Right.
But, I've also spoken with Fred Thiel about being able to use these properties for agriculture, for landing and stuff like that, if that's a possibility. I know there's a lot to do to look at that property. That's just something potential.
Right.
Even a marine center like we did in Hampton Bays.
Right.
A utility out of it, I think, would be great. And it'd be nice to know if the community supported something like that or wanted it to be just, restored and maintained as a historic structure, or actually have some utility to the community in that regard. Do you think that's?
yeah. I mean, I think you need to, I mean, it's a historic building, but that doesn't mean it's not usable, it's not inviting to certain groups, for sure. It's just such an icon, and just, the vista, it's a historic vista in Flanders. And when a platform is built where the Seven Z's was, it'll be just really wide open and a beautiful view and vista.
It's possible you could have some sort of resident caretaker there. That's another thing that's being discussed.
Yeah, would be a big help for some of these
Probably
properties.
allowable under the CPF since it had a resident there, and just to have somebody on site, because otherwise,
I mean, there's also
having an abandoned building there,
right.
the
idea of a CPF structure for seasonal CPF workers. There are other venues to look at too, but it's worthy. It holds so much history on that point. I mean, I can go back to 1763, but I'll keep it as brief to the more
Were there
present.
structures on this property in 1763?
No, that's when the land was originally divided.
Okay.
So this whole area was the bone of contention between the town of Southold and the town of Southampton in 1667. And Southampton ended up getting the property from Riverhead, all north of 24 Flanders Road going into Riverhead. But Southold had it for quite a bit of time. They were able to use the meadows for grazing their animals. And then in they made a decision, and then by 1763, Southampton was able to divide the land.
So have there been engineering reports done on the buildings you're proposing?
No, we haven't gotten to that
Not
state.
gotten
We've
that.
just
Okay.
been, the owner has been gracious enough to let us on the site, just to see.
Right, but if we do authorize it for both open space and historic preservation, we're not obligated to then preserve it, but we would have the option to.
Yes.
So, all right, anything else for Julie? All right, thank you.
No, but thanks for all the work.
Thank you.
Oh, sure, thank you.
Julie, that was great.
Kevin, did you want to speak on this one, or no?
I did, to combine the two, if I could.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Jay. Good evening, Town Board. Kevin McAllister of Defend H2O. I read with interest in the press. I thought the hearing was actually held over, and I had a oh shoot moment, and I wanted to speak to it. The 7Zs parcel, I have some history there dating back to probably some diving training, but more recently, about 10 years ago, my review and investigation into Suffolk County Health Department with the grandfathering provision in their sanitary code. 7Zs, Allen's Acres, there's a third that were, I think, certainly exemplified the problem with the grandfathering. And as I recall, I believe the transition was into a health club, which would have been an enormous use. So I know the parcel well. I know where it lies. We pass it all the time. Between the two parcels, I think it's a great acquisition. You will, at least for 7Zs, future development and input of pollutant, whether it be an IA system or not, there's still an impact that will be removed. You building in a buffer, I would urge that this be passive development to the extent possible. I mean, it's a great vista, but if we're removing hardscape, and you know the property well, I hope we can transform it into a softer parcel that is at full capacity to absorb floodwater and serve as a buffer.
You're referring to 7Zs?
Yes.
Okay.
And then
The removal of the property.
correct, all the
Place.
parking, the structure itself, and of course, you want to utilize that vista because it is a $1 million view, as pointed out. And then, of course, that's a appropriate acquisition. And to the parcel with the historic value, Supervisor Schneiderman, I heard you say this, it does not obligate the board to commit to restoration. And for the same reasons I'm citing a low-impact buffer, I'd urge this parcel as well not to go down a road where there's heavy investment, where then you are compelled to, fortify and really protect that investment rather than have it serve as a passive, beautiful vista, beautiful park, and serve the environmental benefits that it can. So, a great acquisition. I urge the board to do so, and radar up on other parcels like this. Let's not hesitate in getting the waterfront to the extent we can. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Anyone else? Charles, anybody online? Just an interesting comment that so many of our CPF pieces these days are developed, whether it's 7Zs or this one. There are less and less undeveloped parcels left.
It's true.
We're seeing more and more properties where we're tearing down structures and restoring them for environmental purposes. But all right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Seconded by Councilor Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Madam Clerk, the third public hearing notice.
Public hearing number 3, to consider amending Town Code, Chapter 312, Vehicles and Traffic, amending and adding parking prohibited in designated locations, regulations on a portion of Old Country Road, West Hampton.
So,
We don't have any, Sean is out
for medical purposes for reasons.
Oh, then can we move it? Because I know we had. some
Yeah,
other-
no, yeah, definitely, we can
all
absolutely,
right.
yeah. I
Do
think,
you want to keep it open?
no,
I think
we close
we
it?
can close it.
I think we can close it.
yeah,
This
we're
this
all
is a
set.
continuation of the hearing, right? And-
Right.
and
Right.
This is the plan that included some parking, 300 feet of parking?
Yep.
Okay, is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this? No one here. Charles, anybody online?
No, sir.
All right, make a motion to close.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that concludes our public hearings this evening. We'll move on to public portion. I have but one card. Kevin McAllister, you want to speak on FIMP?
Thank you again for the latitude with the public hearings. Supervisor, you and I both attended a community meeting in Quogue back in August where the FIMP presented, I guess, Contract 2 components. You may recall my comments at that meeting, and going back through Contract 1, I've urged the same thing. Relative to the navigable inlets, of course, Shinnecock, we've got to be more assertive or aggressive with sand bypassing. 2 years ago, I guess, the near calamity with the bowl and the commercial docks because of, again, being an erosion hotspot relative to a navigable inlet. I've been following and urging, again, more assertive or aggressive sand bypassing. They will draw from the navigable channel as well as the ebb shoal. Those are the principal sources for filling in the beach fill relative to what they're calling bypassing. I have urged the Army Corps to go after, to explore dredging the shoals and even the island, Warner Island, which is a flood delta that is compatible beach sand to the greatest extent because by virtue of the, you're certainly the expert here on the fluid dynamics of transport of sediments and the deposition. And that's one area that the Army Corps, again, it's probably because of expediency, the outside shoal and the navigable channel, which may or may not have beach quality sediments relative to being, again, a sink. So I urge the town board, I know this is an Army Corps endeavor. They seemed open to that recommendation. Both Jay and John, you may recall going back about a year ago, in the process of the Bay Ocean Exchange, when you were exploring the engineering endeavor, ultimately I had made a recommendation, the same recommendation, to see if there would be any real benefit, meaningful benefit to flushing as a result, again, of basically shaving down shoals and opening up flushing. Again, I'm not the engineer, I couldn't answer that question, but again, it may be a secondary benefit, and again, you are looking at what I believe is a mother lode of beach-compatible sand on that flood delta, the island as well as the shoals that abound Shinnecock Inlet. And I think it's incumbent that the Army Corps, or in combination with partnership, that there be a system of periodically dredging those areas, providing that material in the downdrift hotspot of the bowl, the Shinnecock Bowl. And I think, again, it's a win-win situation. I'm here to tell you, as certainly a well-trained biologist that assesses environmental impacts, that's kind of informal habitat in a way, coming and going, seasonality to it. There may have to be mitigation, but if we're talking about bird nesting, transporting material from a flood delta, high and dry, possibly to an eroded beach, you are in fact mitigating. So to the extent the town board can try to engage the Army Corps in this conversation, to at least urge them to explore this, I think it's well worth the effort. Because again, otherwise we are looking at an enormous volume of beach-compatible sand that is taken out of the system by virtue of a navigable inlet. That's the reality of the situation. And we're not doing enough to basically recover that sand and manage that sand. So thank you.
Just one point of clarification. when you talk about Warner Island, you're not talking about the stabilized island with the vegetation on it, which is called Warner Island. You're talking about the delta that's subsurface?
That is a flood delta that has evolved over time into a high dry island. Again, there is habitat value to that, but the surrounding shoal, there's enormous volume in there. If it had a slumping impact to the island itself, again, there is compensation and mitigation. And I would say that the environmental impact to wildlife is de minimis, and the benefit of, again, recovering otherwise lost beach sand, which is at a premium, and particularly if we're talking about ensuring that the bowl is stabilized, that's a very short run from hydraulic dredge to pipeline to basically be triage when you need to. And that has to be set in place beforehand. So again, it is a bona fide sand source for beach nourishment.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
all right. Anyone else for public portion? Charles, anyone online for public portion? No, sir. All right, I'll make a motion to close public portion.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, to the resolutions.
Going to withdraw the first resolution?
So the first one, 891, you would like to withdraw?
Yes, please.
Would the clerk please note that 891 is withdrawn?
Certainly.
You got it, Cindy?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
All right, 900 amends the Town of Southampton Community Preservation Project Plan and CPF Management Stewardship Plan to include the lands of Michael Atkinson and Pauline Atkinson Revocable Trust and authorized acquisition. This is 2 acres, Quantuck Bay Lane. $2.2 million. People remember this one?
Yep.
Are you prepared to vote? I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who's the
Aye.
second?
Oh, sorry. I made a motion. John, you want to,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Okay, 944, 2022 appoints, I have to table this. We haven't held the interview yet. I'll make a motion to table 944.
Second.
To the
Seconded.
next board meeting?
I'm sorry?
To the next meeting?
Yeah, we'll table to the next meeting. This is appointing John Leonard to the Zoning Board of Appeals, seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Which is October 11th.
Yeah, if we don't give a specific date, it would just go to the next meeting.
Okay.
Town Board Resolution 2022-970 is the authorized budget modification of the Community Development Block Grant Program for fiscal years of 2019 and 2020, and it's co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, approved.
Town Board Resolution 971 of 2022 to authorize contract signature and equipment purchase for storage area network, SAN, at the Town Police Department.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Town Board Resolution 972 of 2022 to authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Contemporary Computer Services Incorporated for security incident and response tabletop exercise.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 973 of 2022 to authorize the supervisor to execute an expansive service order with Box Incorporated for Business Plus account licenses.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 974, 22, authorize the supervisor to execute contracts with individual sexual assault nursing examiner nurses as part of the sexual assault forensic examiner program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 975 of 2022, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, authorizes the supervisor to sign contract with Brunswick Appraisal Corporation for appraisal of 43 Hill Street, Village of Southampton.
Second.
Trying to remember that property. Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Southampton Theater.
Was it?
Southampton.
Oh, that's the
Village.
movie, that's the
Yeah.
movie theater.
Yep. Town Board Resolution, I'm sorry?
I'm just trying to,
Wasn't that purchased?
I thought somebody purchased it,
Yeah, it was in the paper that-
but then I heard it may still be in play again. Well, listen, I won't sign the contract yet.
Yeah.
I'll find out.
Yeah.
I heard, yeah, because what I've heard is that it got withdrawn, the
sale.
offer, but maybe not.
The offer
We need to
was
find
withdrawn, So
out.
it's still in play then?
We had,
That's what I
All
thought.
right, I'll
Find out.
I'll see
we
if
had
I can
already
find out
done,
and-
we had already done 2 appraisals of it.
I don't recall. Did we did?
Why would we be doing another?
These ones we completed already, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
already
for
happened.
payment.
Yeah, the language is,
All right, we still have to pay them, so, all right, so is the
just
motion a
find
second, all in favor?
thanks, Gotcha.
All right,
Thank you, Ted.
approved. Thank you, Tatiana.
Town Board Resolution 976, I have to withdraw.
All right, with the clerk withdraws 976. Actually, I'm glad, because I had a question on that one. All right, 977, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract for architectural and engineering services for the Southampton Head Start Center expansion, rebid with Ronette Riley Architect.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
I approve. 978 of 22, authorize supervisor to sign contract with Traffic Counts Collecting, Inc. for blinking signal test traffic control count program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 979 of 2022 to declare items surplus and authorize disposal of copier.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor? Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 980 of 2022, recall and amend Resolution 219-1079, authorize the supervisor to execute Parks and Recreation Agreement for programs.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 981 of 2022, recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2021-1117, authorizing the supervisor to execute a 2022 contract extension with Suffolk Paving Corp.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 982, co-sponsored with Councilman Bouvier and Councilman Schiavone. Recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2022-637, authorizing the supervisor to sign contract for full-depth reclamation with Rosemar Construction Incorporated.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. 983, renew contract for Nova Time Town's electronic timekeeping system.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 984, allocation of ARPA coronavirus federal grant for blinking light pilot program expenses to town police and highway department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 985 of 22, amends 2022 budget for various departments.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. (986), a resolution to retain Campola, Middleton, and McCormick LLP as it relates to litigation filed against the chief building inspector.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 987 of 22, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone and Councilman Bouvier, resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 312 to add parking prohibited in designated locations on a portion of Old Country Road in West Hampton.
So,
Where are we with this?
yeah, well, this is, there should be an amendment.
Is
Is
this-
this the amended?
I'm looking.
Yeah.
I believe so. I
Okay,
believe it is.
because I'm not sure, I
Yeah,
haven't
spoke
talked with Sean, I know.
He said the resolution's on as amended.
Okay, all right, then we're good.
Is this
The
the
other one was
amendment?
removed.
Number 7, on the north side of, what's this, 300 feet initially, opposite from
Changing the
local
distance to
pole.
300
On the north
feet,
side,
correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
for a distance.
Opposite local pole
It
120.
says for a distance of
Yeah.
300.
Right.
No, because I
Be
know
easily,
I know he called me about an issue, but I think he got cleared up in here, so I think
It
we're,
That's
matches-
okay.
Matches the public hearing.
yeah, okay.
That's okay with all those typos?
Yeah.
They're
It's
Scribner's.
just one of.
There, well, it's
Oh,
also,
yeah.
it says
Distance.
distance twice. On the north side of Old Country
Twice the
Road
distance.
for a distance of 300.
Take out the
Yeah.
distance of.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there's a motion and a second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 988 of 2022, resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 64, term limits to reduce the term limit of zoning board and planning board members from 3 terms to 2 terms.
So this is,
The new
you
version.
made the changes.
Yeah,
That we held the
20
hearing
years,
on the
2 full
changes?
7-year terms.
All right, so let's just go over it one more time. So you'd be allowed to serve 2 full 7-year terms,
But not more than 20.
even if you've served a 2-year term or even a
4-year term,
4-year term. You could then do 2 7-year terms after that 4-year term.
but you'd be capped at 20.
Right, so that would bring you to 18. So technically, you'd be okay, even if you had served, let's say, a 4-year term and a 2-year term, you'd still be eligible for 2 7-year terms. So, okay, I'm okay with it like this. I was concerned because we have the staggering going on, and I didn't want somebody to not be able to serve a second 7-year term. Some of the newer members there. I wanted them to be eligible for 2 7-year terms after the staggering period. So, all right.
I will second that.
All right, seconded by Councilman Martell. Any other discussion?
Yeah, on the motion. I do not support changing the term limits for our zoning and planning board for the following reasons. Currently, our chairs are members sitting on those boards that have been on those boards for more than 15 years. Our previous chairs have been on the boards for more than 15 years. So, in my view, I believe that future boards, we would be tying the hands of future boards if they have a qualified person on the planning or zoning board who has served 13 and a half years and they want to make that person a chair, that person will only be able to serve a half a year. Or we would probably want someone with the kind of credentials that only comes with experience. So to me, I do not support this. I think term limits on planning and zoning boards are inappropriate anyway, but for those reasons, I can't support the motion in this form.
John, anything?
Well, Councilman Scavone said it eloquently. I have to agree with him. I think particularly after watching how our planning boards and our land use boards run, I think there's too much for me. There's too unforeseen consequences of this, particularly when it comes to institutional knowledge from the department itself. And for that reason, and also I also agree with him that I don't think that there should be term limits on our land use boards for all the same reasons. So I am a no.
So, up until recently, there were 4-year terms, and I think it was 3 max terms, which would have been 12 years. And then we changed it to 7-year terms, which made it 21 max years, which was quite a bit more, obviously, than the 12 years. I feel like this is somewhat of a reasonable compromise. It does allow a longer term limit than had been in place, which was 12 years, by making it, either 14 to 20 years for the current members. So I'm not a big fan of term limits, although I think that they can serve a place in terms of bringing new people on. They do tend to get rid of institutional knowledge. A 20-year term seems like a reasonable amount of service, though, so I'm going to support it. Anyone else?
It's 20-year for the current members, but after that, it would be 14, and it's a 7-year term, and then the board would have to reappoint the person after 7 years.
Right.
So I wouldn't.
Well, future boards could change
20
this,
years.
too. Right.
They could.
And this goes back to what the term limits were when it was 7-year terms. It was 2 terms.
When it was 4-year, it was 3 terms
When it was, but before, prior to it being 4 3-year terms, it was 2 7-year terms.
Well, that's what it had been originally?
This is what it had been originally.
Which was changed from no term limits. I mean, so, yeah.
Was it
That's my
5?
reasoning to oppose it, because I think that we would be losing qualified members.
All right, so all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, so it's a 3-2 vote.
Town Board Resolution 989 of 2022, authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation facility use fee for the Hampton Bays Lions Club, 11th Annual Over the Bridge 10K Run and 5K Run Walk on September 17, 2022.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 990 of 2022, acceptance of maintenance bond in connection with Shinnecock Hills GC Pro Shop.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 991, accepts resignation of Jeremy Smith, laborer in waste management.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Aye.
992 of 2022 appoints Amy Hayes to Records Management Assistant position in Town Clerk's Office.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved, and congratulations. 993 of 22 appoints Ashley Alexander to Senior Office Assistant from Civil Service list.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved, and congratulations. 994 appoints Kara Conklin Wingfield to Senior Office Assistant position in Engineering.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved, congratulations. 995 of 22 appoints Eva Aquino to Ordnance Inspector, Spanish-speaking position.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Congratulations. 996 of 22 appoints Lene Piazza to Senior Office Assistant from Civil Service list.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved, and congratulations. All right, I need to make a motion to amend 997. It says in the first resolve that Lynn Niles is appointed to the position of Senior Office Assistant. It should say Youth Services Coordinator. So let me make a motion to amend.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. I'll make a motion to, for 997 to 22, motion to approve as amended, appointing Lynn Niles to Youth Services Coordinator from Civil Service list.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 998 of 22 appoints Nicholas Newlis to Sanitation Helper position in Municipal Waste Management Division.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Congratulations. 999 of 22 appoints Patrick Daniels to laborer position in Municipal Works Waste Management Division.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier.
We got a lot of these.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved, and congratulations. 1,000 of 2022 appoints Samuel Utz to sanitation helper position in Municipal Works Waste Management Division.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved, and congratulations. 1,001 of 22 appoints Shamika Cobb to Senior Police Operations Aide position in Police Department.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Tommy John, you're next.
Town Board Resolution 1002 of 2022 authorizes sole assessor to attend the 2022 NYSAA Annual Meeting and Seminar on Assessment Administration.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1003, ratify memorandum of agreement and authorize supervisor to execute SOA agreement.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. This is related to the body-worn cameras. And it just mirrors the same agreement with the PBA. All right. Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 1004, 22, ratify MOA with SOA regarding body-worn cameras experimental program participation.
I'd like to co-sponsor it, and I would second that.
All right, so what this one is just there were a certain number of, there were 6 officers two of which were in the SOA, who participated in the, like, 9-month trial program, that are each being given a small stipend for their participation. So, all right, seconded by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. Excuse me. 1005, ratify MOA with PBA regarding body-worn camera experimental program participation.
I'd also like to co-sponsor.
Seconded by Councilman Bouvier, who will be also a co-sponsor on this. And this is for those other 4 members of the PBA who participated in that program. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1006 of 2022 is a road review application for 153 Herrick's LLC. Suffolk County tax map is indicated in the resolution. Situated Flanders is accepted.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 1008 of 2022, I'm going to withdraw.
1007.
We skip 7.
I'm sorry?
7 or 8?
Skip 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. My fault. I'll do 7 first. Town Board Resolution 1007 of 2022, road review application for 787 Middle Line Highway LLC. Suffolk County tax map is indicated in the resolution. Situated at Noyak is accepted.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Now I'll withdraw.
approved. All right, so would the clerk note that Councilman
1000.
Bouvier is withdrawing 1008? And off we go to the walk-ons. All right, number 1, 41178, terminates employment of confidential secretary in tax receiver's office.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell. You know, it's my feeling that the tax receiver gets to pick their confidential secretary. It serves at the pleasure of the tax receiver, so.
I think the co-sponsor, the second was Councilwoman Martin.
I'm sorry,
McNamara.
what did I say?
Sunday's got it.
Councilwoman McNamara, what did I say? Councilman?
You said Councilwoman Martell.
Oh, really? Well,
Starts with an M.
okay, I'm sorry. So it was seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. And then 41179 appoints Robin Oliver to confidential secretary in tax receiver's office.
Second?
Same second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved. 41321, authorize the supervisor to renew a contract with Civic Plus for upgrades and redesign of the town's website.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 41341, resolution setting a public hearing to consider amending Chapter 312 entitled Vehicles and Traffic by adding a new Article 25 entitled Temporary Restrictions for Trial Programs and new Section 312-111 entitled October 22, 2022 Blinking Light Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schiavone. And this is, we're trying to do this week-long program toward the end of October, like Monday to Friday in October, where we're blinking a slew of intersections in the morning to try to 5:30 to 9:30 in the morning to try to get traffic flowing and seeing how well it works, with the hope that if it's effective, then we'll look toward the spring and how to fund an ongoing program with external resources. But at least we'll know what it's going to cost and if it's going to work. And we're doing quite a bit of assessment here, too. It's been a very large coordinated program with a lot of players. And I know Councilman Schiavone has been attending those meetings, but we've had police participation and highway participation and village participation and lots of others, town attorney's office and engineering and public safety, and trying to make this work. All right.
And this is coupled with an earlier resolution to count traffic in several different parts of the town, so we'll have some real data
Exactly.
to assess this.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved.
Town Board Resolution 41343, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, is a notice of public hearing for the proposed recipients of the 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 41348, authorized payment from restricted account for purchases of supplies related to 20 Shinnecock Road, Hampton Bays. That is, of course, the Bel Air building. I guess we're buying some plywood and trying to board it up a little bit to sort of hold it in place while we're still waiting for the health department to finalize the grandfather of the flow there.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Martell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved. The next one is 41359. Labeled number 8. It's really the 7th one, but it's attendance of NYJOS ROA Basic School Resource Officers Course.
Second.
And seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, approved. 41361, authorize the supervisor to sign contract with MAD 82 Services, Inc. to replace defective CATS cable on Police Department Headquarters Tower.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 41364 is our 18th warrant.
Second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. 41368, authorized acquisition of 1140 Flanders Road, Flanders, and amends the CPF management and stewardship plan to include that property. Which one is
This is
this?
7 Cs.
This is 7Z's. Okay,
Second.
all right. Seconded by Councilman Martell. Anybody else want to co-sponsor this one?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. Can we
Been
make
working on this for the longest time.
All of us.
Glad to see it's finally happening.
Yeah, so I think, before we vote, I think this is a really important acquisition. I've been staring at that building for as long as I can remember, and imagining the view behind it, which I'm sure is magnificent, but it's been in disrepair for a very long time, and I think this will be very uplifting for that Flanders community to see that building come down and to see that view shed restored. So I think this is a great CPF acquisition in my mind.
Absolutely.
And I did make a comment earlier that a lot of the properties we're seeing now are developed properties. Maybe this one shouldn't have been developed, but it was in the past, and it's a perfect candidate, I believe, for CPF acquisition.
It's going to be a nice view. Methodist Point, Reeves Bay, next to the marina.
And it was almost in contract, and we were lucky to get it. And I was speaking with the seller's attorneys yesterday, so I asked them, through the help of Tatiana, we got the acquisition resolution on today. I don't want to wait to the 11th because I want to make sure we tie this thing up. So thank you, board. This is a good one.
Great.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, approved. All right, moving on to 41369, authorize acquisition of 1040 Flanders Road, Flanders, and amends the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Scavone. Let's make sure, though, this is the one that has the historic?
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
we just had the hearing.
It's right here.
Okay. Let me just take a quick look.
Yep,
You seeing it?
yep. In the fourth whereas.
How about the, historic preservation? Yeah.
Wetland preservation target area and the historic preservation target area.
Yeah, it's the amendment we made on the.
Oh, you're seeing it in the
floor.
fourth whereas, so,
Right.
yes, I see it. I was looking in the resolve clauses. All right,
I would like to co-sponsor that one also.
Me as well.
all right.
That's the whole board.
Tommy John, you too?
Yes, please.
Tommy John, you too?
Yes.
Okay, so all of us were co-sponsoring it. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved.
Thank you, Tatiana. It's a lot of work. Appreciate it.
Same goes for this one, because it's the same seller, so this is,
Well, I think
there was a sense of urgency on both of these.
this will be a great park.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it'll be a great place for people to go visit and picnic and be able to appreciate that view. It will require, though, us mowing the lawn and maintaining the buildings, and it's a lot more work for a CPF department, a Parks Department.
They're up to it.
They're ready, that's good to know. All right, so that was approved. Moving on to 41371, award and authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Aventura Construction Corporation for Old Farm Road reconstruction.
Second?
Seconded by Councilwoman McNamara, all in favor?
Aye.
I approved. John?
Town Board Resolution 41375, co-sponsored with Councilman Martels to waive showmobile fee for Live Your Core Foundation fundraiser.
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Martell. No snowmobile, just a snowmobile?
No, showmobile,
We don't have those.
although anything can happen.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Approved. All right, that's the last resolution. Is there any other business? I'll just say we are watching the weather, we'll pray for the people of Tampa as this, hurricane comes ashore. I think on, very early in the morning, around 2 a.m. roughly on Thursday. And we pray they weather the storm well. And just a reminder of our changing climate, as well as, the dangers we face as a coastal community that we need to be ever present, ever, conscious of. So, anything else? Any other business?
Just want to say thank you again for everything the town did for the San Gennaro Feast. The town was represented well. Safety, we had the fire marshals, we had the animal control, they had a booth giving out coloring books and safety information for hurricanes and so on. And we also had Lynn Arthur from the Sustainability Committee there with 4 electric vehicles that we showcasing from different brands. And she did a great job. I mean, it was great to see all that, a lot of participation.
All right, and we do have work session Thursday, so.
Special meeting,
We have a special meeting Thursday, too,
that's what I understand.
and then work session.
Budget,
Oh, the budget meeting, yes. All right, so I will make a motion to adjourn.
second.
Second by Councilman Bouvier, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.